China pushes forceful rate cut, vows fiscal spending to stabilize realty market. Metals gain 2% on the back of comments. Market regulator SEBI urges exchanges to tighten SME IPO oversight, calls for a meeting of over 50 merchant bankers, focuses on IPOs with unrealistic claims. Tata Electronics completes tech transfer agreement with Taiwan's power chip Semiconductor Manufacturing Corp or PSMC. This is to build India's first semiconductor fab. HSBC reiterates its bullish stance on Ola Electric with a buy call after NDTV Profit conducted an independent investigation into Ola's servicing disaster. The brokerage arm also found that many of the EV firm's service stations are overwhelmed with complaints. More than 50 drugs, including calcium and vitamin D3 supplements, anti-diabetes, pills and hypertension medicines have failed quality tests by India's drug regulator CDSCO or the Central Drug Standard Control Organization. The Shapoorji Pallonji Group is in troubled waters. This as its group entity Goswami Infratech decides to seek a 3-month extension for its coupon payment, leaving bondholders in a tizzy. The Enforcement Directorate uncovers 400 crore rupee fraud, freezes crypto accounts of Chinese citizens linked to the online gaming app FeeWin. Well, good evening and welcome. You're watching NDTV Profit and this is Profit 360. I'm Nupur Talwar Suri. We begin with a look at how the markets ended their day today. Well, the benchmarks closed at record highs. Nifty and Sensex have extended their winning rally to the 6th day. Neeraj Shah is bringing us a wrap of all the action from the markets.
7th consecutive record close for the markets, and what a surge in the second half of trade. I mean, the Nifty intraday closing in 0.8% higher, 26,216 is the average close for the Nifty. But the intraday will show you the kind of spike that we had. And not just the Nifty, the banks too participated, but the heroes of the day were metals and autos. Some really strong showing by both of these indices. Mid caps and small caps could have done a bit better because frankly we had them in the red, if you will. Mid cap index just marginally in the green, okay, a late recovery out there too, but small cap index about 0.45% lower. Bring up the heat map of the Nifty. You will see Maruti at the top of the pile, 4.48% higher. Tata Motors at about 2.83% higher gains. M&M about 2.5%. So autos having a really great day in trade. And then Metallica with Tata Steel, Hindalco. There's a JSW Steel in the list of the top 10, 15 names as well. So all of them have done reasonably okay for themselves, and not too many losers. I mean, Reliance was flat in trade, just about 0.67% higher. HDFC Bank flattish again. A top loser was Cipla, really, just about 1.4% higher. Broader end of the spectrum, a lot of very smart individual performers. Now, before we get to the BSE 500 list, or maybe we can do that too, but Gopal Snacks, Pratap Snacks, that whole set of snacking companies did really well for themselves in the session today. I mean, 20% up for a Pratap Snacks, Gopal Snacks up about 8.5%, and big spikes there. So this bucket did really well for itself in the session today. And beyond snacking companies, if you pull up the BSE 500, while the small cap index was in the red, a clutch of stocks which did very well. Again, metals stood out, right? So Vedanta, Lloyds Metal, National Aluminum doing very well. Easy Trip bouncing back today. Apollo Tyres having a 4.5% uptick, and some calls by experts or trading experts to go out and buy Apollo Tyres. On the other side, Crompton after the analyst meet not doing well. Some sunset for Kalyan Jewellers. Some weakness for Devyani International. KPR Mills, which saw SBI mutual fund buying yesterday. The stock still sulking in trade today. Net, very strong showing per se. The question only is, will this continue, or now after having 7 consecutive days, will we see a bit of a sedate move on the last day of the trading week? I think that is an answer that we'll get tomorrow.
All right, Neeraj, thank you very much for that. Now, FIIs have bought over 92,000 crore worth of equities in India since the beginning of the year. The net institutional flows as well have been positive for 4 days in a row, with the rate cycle as we poised to see even more enhanced flows or are valuations going to phase the investors? And that's the question that we asked Vikash Jain of CLSA, and this is what he told us.
Those flows will be very important because we get into, I would say, a pretty big period of supply coming in equity markets as well. So that's where more FII inflows will be required. However, can that be taken for granted? We do not know. See, if there is a rate cut and this narrative of soft landing continues, then we can be hopeful of more inflows into EM market.
Well, Nifty Metal Index surged over 1% in trade, and this was on the back of comments made by a Chinese Communist Party member after a Politburo meeting. We have Mihika joining us to tell us what comments were made and how they impacted metal markets. Hi, Mihika. Take us through how this unfolded today.
I'll just list down a few key comments that were made at the Politburo meeting. One was to implement forceful interest rate cuts. China also aims to stabilize its real estate market and control new home construction. They also aim to ensure the necessary fiscal spending and complete their annual economic goals and make efforts to boost the capital markets. And lastly, they've also mentioned about improving policy to not only support birth rates but also strengthen employment for college graduates. Now, when you talk about the focus points and the Nifty metal context is the interest rate cuts. Now, Chinese rate cuts have a positive impact on the metal prices because lower interest rates can encourage borrowing, investment, as well as consumer spending. And this could translate into higher economic activity, which could flow into key metal consuming sectors like construction, manufacturing, and infra projects. Now, why China is important for the metal prices? Well, China is one of the top metal consuming sectors, and its economic downturn, especially weakness in the key metal consuming sectors, has been impacting metal prices, and which led to a correction in the start of Q2. And lastly, when you look at the metal prices in 2024, well, the steel and iron ore prices are severely under pressure in the last 6 months. We have Chinese steel prices down 15%, Indian steel prices down 13%, and Odisha iron ore prices down at 19% in the last 6 months. On the non-ferrous side, however, overall prices have picked up. We have aluminium up 10.8%, copper up 6%, zinc up 15.2%, and nickel, however, down at 5.9%.
All right, now market regulator SEBI has urged exchanges to tighten SME IPO oversight, calling for a meeting of over 50 merchant bankers. Charu is joining in with the details on this. Now, Charu, give us a broad sense of what kind of concerns are expected to be addressed by SEBI in this meeting.
All right, so let's just try to understand the small and medium enterprise issue here that is at play. So SEBI has basically come across a lot of concerns regarding the due diligence that is carried out by the merchant bankers in the SME IPOs, and this has been something that even the SEBI chairperson has been talking about since March this year. Even the SEBI whole-time member Ashwani Bhatia has spoken about this at a recent event, saying that there are some bubbles and frauds and which will be dealt with in a consultation paper that is slated to come out very soon. And in its action in this direction, SEBI has also asked the exchanges, that is the National Stock Exchange and the Bombay Stock Exchange, to take some action regarding the due diligence that merchant bankers take. We have also reported very recently that over a dozen of domestic banks are under the scanner of SEBI regarding the due diligence that they carry in the SEBI IPOs. We also know that the SME IPOs are, very lax. Their regulations are very lenient as compared to the main board listing, and that is why SEBI is thinking about bringing in more checks and balances and more audits. So let's see what kind of actions are finally taken once the consultation paper are public, and what kind of actions are taken before that comes into play.
So SEBI wanting to erect more guardrails around this. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, the market, of course, has been abuzz with several IPOs making their debut, from Ola Electric to Zomato, PN Gadgil to Manba Finance. There's a frenzy amongst buyers as they remain spoilt for choice on where to put their money. NDTV's Anushi Vakharia tells us about the top IPOs so far.
So it's been raining IPOs this year as well. If you look at 2024, we've handpicked the top 5 ones in terms of subscription. First for the list is Vibhor Steel Tubes. It has received massive 300x of subscription when it came for its listing in February. Along with that, there's Manba Finance, which is set to be listed in nearby time as we go. 224x of listing that we're looking at. Then there's Gala Precision, Unicommerce E-Solutions, and BLS E-Services of this 2024 list, which have topped in the subscription status with about 162 to 200x of oversubscription that we have looked at, and this reflects in their listing day gains as well. If you look at the listing premium that these companies came out with, Vibhor Steel Tubes with over 300x subscription tops the list with about 181% of listing day gains that we are looking at. Even BLS E-Services and Orient Technologies, I'm not including Manba Finance as it's not listed here. So 117 to 129 gains that even these counters have seen. Orient Technologies and Gala Precision though have seen returns in the range of 40 to 41%. It's the early party hood that we are looking at, and then investors take in the exit. So if you see the kind of listing day premium and compare it to the current performance of these, we are seeing most of these counters in a negative trend, with Vibhor Steel Tubes, which was the strongest in terms of the listing premium and subscription, seeing the most pressure in trade, about 40% of a loss that we are looking at since its listing day closed in terms of stock performance.
Now, Tata Electronics has entered into a technology transfer agreement with the Taiwan-based Powership Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation that will help establish India's first semiconductor fabrication facility in Dholera, Gujarat. Now, this ambitious project is expected to create over 1 lakh skilled jobs and attract investments of up to 91,000 crore rupees. The semiconductor fab will feature advanced factory automation capabilities and have a manufacturing capacity of up to 50,000 wafers per month. Now, the PSMC will provide design and construction support, which marks a significant step towards India's self-sufficiency in semiconductor manufacturing. Now, despite recent market share losses, HSBC has maintained a buy rating on Ola Electric Mobility with a target price for 140 rupees. Now, Agam Vakil is joining us with more details on this. Agam, take us through what you're picking up.
Right, so HSBC maintains a buy on Ola Electric Mobility with a price target of 140, which entails an upside of nearly 23% from current market levels. HSBC believes that there is no cannibalization when it comes to existing portfolio due to electrification. Moreover, they're expecting Ola Electric to grow faster than the 5 to 6% CAGR for the two-wheeler industry. They also believe that product quality and sales service will be key drivers, and that they're expecting Ola to gain a market share as well as see a boost in volumes on account of the motorcycle launches which will be coming over the course of the next few months for Ola Electric. In terms of the recent market share loss, that seems to be a concern at the moment because of the fact that their market share has dropped significantly to below the mark of 30% against 43% in the first half of 2024. But if you keep this particular concern aside, there are plenty of factors which are playing in favor of electric, and that's the reason why HSBC remains positive on this particular company.
Now, the Shapoorji Pallonji Group is in troubled waters. This is after the group entity Goswami Infratech decided to seek a 3-month extension for its coupon payment. Now, this has left the bondholders of Goswami Infratech at the mercy of the issuer. We have Shobhana Sheikh who's joining us with more details on this. Shobhana, give us more details of what this essentially means for Shapoorji Pallonji.
Shapoorji Pallonji Group is now said to have been in troubled waters now that its group entity Goswami Infratech is seeking another extension till December 31st to make the coupon payments on its 14,300 crore bond issue. Now the company plans to also raise over 2,100 crores through another bond issue, and Deutsche Bank is said to have been the lead manager for this issue. Now this is the second time in a year that Goswami Infratech has asked for relaxation of its debt servicing. Earlier this year, the company had pushed the date from May 26 to September 30, and now it's seeking another 3-month extension by the end of this year. The company has to make the coupon payments of around 1,800 crores. Now, why has Goswami Infratech asked for extension? Earlier they were in talks with Power Finance Corporation for a loan, so that has said to have been delayed. There's also been a deferment in the group's entity Afcon Infrastructure's listing. That has been pushed by another month till October. There's also been delay in the monetization of the group's ports. So last year, Goswami Infratech had come to the bond market and they had raised around 14,300 crores through an April 2026 bond at 18.75% on two preconditions. First condition was that the company would monetize its two ports, and the second condition was that it would list a group entity called Afcon Infrastructure, and that the group's 9.2% stake in Tata Sons would be provided as a collateral. So now that Tata Sons is said to have not going to be listed soon, is said to have escaped from the RBI's approval. Until and unless there is a permission from Tata Sons, Shapoorji Pallonji cannot dilute this stake. So this has led the bondholders of Goswami Infratech on the mercy of the issuer. So yes, that's on Shapoorji Pallonji.
All right. Thank you for that, Subhana. Now, the Supreme Court has reserved its judgment on Byju's insolvency case after hearing that lasted 1.5 days. Now, the court has said that the committee of creditors for the EdTech company would not be allowed to hold meetings until the judgment is delivered. Varun Gakur joins us for more on this. Hi, Varun. Take us through what this means for the company and also give us more details on what happened.
Yeah, hi, thanks. So yeah, you're right. The Supreme Court has reserved its judgment in the Byju's insolvency case for a hearing that lasted more than a day, and the court has stated that the committee of creditors will not be allowed to convene any meetings until the judgment of the top court is delivered in the case. Now, during the hearing, senior counsels Shyam Devan and Kapil Sibal represented the US-based lenders, and while senior counsels Abhishek Manu Singhvi and Neeraj Kishan Kaul appeared for the EdTech firm. Now, a little background to the case. Last month, the NCLAT approved Byju's settlement with the BCCI, putting an end to its insolvency process. And according to the settlement, Byju's committed to settling its dues with the BCCI with payments scheduled for August 2 and August 9. Now, approving the settlement, the NCLAT said that if the payments are not made according to the schedule, the insolvency process will stand resumed. And this was one of the points that was raised by the US-based lenders while the hearing was going on. Now, US-based lenders represented by Glass Trust LLC are opposing the settlement based on the allegation that the money being used for the said settlement was siphoned off from them and its sources are questionable. Now, post the revival of the insolvency process that was initiated by a top court order that set aside the NCLAT order approving the settlement with the BCCI and the subsequent formation of the Committee of Creditors of Byju's, the US-based lenders were removed from the Committee of Creditors even after establishing that their voting share in the COC is 99.41%. Now, Glass has been arguing that Byju's owes it nearly upwards of rupees 8,000 crores, and that the NCLAT ended the insolvency process following a small settlement of rupees 158 crores with the BCCI.
All right, Varun, so stay with us. Now also give us more details about what happened in the court over proceedings in Jet Airways insolvency case.
Yeah. So the Jet Airways insolvency matter was heard for some time by the top court today, and the lenders led by the State Bank of India seem agitated by the way the Jalan Kalrock Consortium has went on with the resolution plan. At the outset, Additional Solicitor General of India N. Venkatraman, appearing for the lenders, told the court that nearly 4 years down the line, the consortium has paid only rupees 200 crores out of the rupees 4783 crores that have been pegged in the resolution plan. Venkatraman said that the plan has become an absolute nightmare and made it clear that the liquidation is the only option left for the company now. He said that the consortium has not paid the airport dues to the tune of nearly rupees 475 crores, which was supposed to be paid as an upfront payment. Now, Venkatraman also alleged that the lenders are struggling to pay the first tranche of rupees 350 crores, and in addition to this, the lenders are incurring an expense of rupees 22 crores per month just to maintain Jet's assets. It was also alleged that JKC doesn't even have a security clearance as of now, which is crucial to operate an airline, and lenders called JKC court birds, referring to the fact that they are just taking benefit of the court's process. Now, the case has been adjourned for the day due to paucity of time, but will be taken up by the top court as the first item on list on Tuesday.
All right. Thank you very much, Varun, for joining us and bringing us all those details. The Enforcement Directorate has arrested 4 individuals in a major online gaming fraud linked to FeeWin app. Now, investigations reveal that 400 crore rupees were transferred from India to China through cryptocurrency. Indian citizens acted as intermediaries, converting money earned from the app into crypto, which was then laundered via Binance for Chinese handlers. Now, the 4 arrested individuals played a key role in the elaborate operation. Well, that's all we have time for. All right. Before that, let's in fact take. This is an initiative of Samarth by Hyundai in partnership with NDTV. We bring you stories of people who prove that their disabilities do not define what they can or cannot do. Paraswimmer Sharath Gaikwad is one such person born with a deformed left hand. He has participated at the highest international levels, even breaking a record held by none other than P.T. Usha. Take a look.
My story started when I was 9 years old. Swimming was something very special to me. Since 2003, I started training very seriously, and that's how I met my coach, John Christopher. Before swimming, I was not very confident person. I was being restricted to do a lot of things. But once I learned swimming and became a national champion and international medalist, I was no longer being restricted to do anything. And today I don't think there is anything that I can't do. After 2014 Asian Para Games, I felt like I've kind of achieved my dream. I should quit swimming and then I should take up coaching, which I've always wanted to. We felt that there are so many people in the country who don't even get this opportunity to learn swimming or learn a sport and showcase their talent. I'm Samarth and I'm making others Samarth too.